It's 1:30, so we'll go ahead and begin. Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Blanton with the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. I'm the designated hearing officer for this hearing. I'd like to welcome each of you to the hearing today. The subject of this hearing is the proposed revisions to ADEM Administrative Code Division 335-13. Notice of the date, time, place, and purpose of this hearing was published in the Birmingham News, the Huntsville Times, the Mobile Press Register, and the Montgomery Advertiser on September 20th, 2020. Copies of the certifications of these publications are submitted for the hearing record as Exhibits C1 through C4. On September 21st, 2020, the Department also caused the same notice to be sent to 2,068 individuals and organizations requesting advance notice of the rulemaking. A listing of the individuals and organizations notified will be entered into the hearing record as Exhibit C5. One original copy of the proposed rules was filed with the Administrative Procedure Division of the Legislative Services Agency, and 10 copies were furnished to the Joint Committee on Administrative Regulation Review on September 21st, 2020. A copy of the notice was also published in the Alabama Administrative Monthly, Volume 38, Issue 12, on September 30th, 2020. These facts are attested to by Anthony Latham, Director of the Legislative Services Agency, by affidavit, which is submitted for the hearing record as Exhibit C6. Copies of the proposed rules have been available for inspection by the public at ADEM field offices in Birmingham, Mobile, and Decatur, and ADEM offices in Montgomery. The proposed regulation changes have also been available on the ADEM internet site at adem.alabama.gov. A copy of the proposed rules is submitted for the hearing record as Exhibit B1. A copy of the summary of reasons supporting adoption of the rules is submitted for the hearing record as Exhibit B2. The Department has given public notice of these rulemaking proceedings, and to date, no written comments have been received. This hearing is being conducted to provide the public an opportunity to present data, views, questions, and arguments on the proposed rules. It is open to the public, and anyone wishing to present oral testimony or a written statement may do so. Persons who have not previously advised the hearing officer of their intent to give oral testimony should complete a registration card and present it to the representative at the registration table. All verbal and written comments received today and during the public notice period will become part of the hearing record. The information in the record will be used in evaluating the proposed rules. Lengthy statements containing considerable technical or other significant data should be submitted for the record in writing. Summaries of such statements may be presented orally. All testimony and written statements should be as factual as possible and should address the subject of this hearing. This hearing is not intended as a question and answer session, and persons giving testimony will not be subject to questioning by the public. They may, however, be questioned by the hearing officer or any other representative of the Department of Environmental Management to clarify points and to develop a better understanding of the information being presented. We will now proceed to the principal purpose of today's hearing, the receipt of public comments. I would ask that each person making a statement please step to the podium, state your name and any interest or organization that you represent. This hearing is being recorded by a court reporter, and a transcript will be included in the public record. The order of appearances of persons giving oral testimony will be as follows. First, a representative of the Department of Environmental Management, then public officials, then members of the public in the order they filed registration cards to give oral testimony. I now call on Scott Story, Chief of the Solid Waste Section of the Land Division.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Scott Story, and I'm Chief of the Solid Waste Branch of the Land Division of the Alabama Department of Environmental Management. I'm going to provide a brief summary of the reasons supporting the proposed modifications to the ADEM Administrative Code Division 13 regulations. Under the provisions of the Alabama Environmental Management Act, 22-22A, Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended, the Department of Environmental Management was given the authority to adopt rules, regulations, and standards in order to carry out the provisions and intent of this chapter. This chapter also provides for the authority to recover the reasonable anticipated costs to be incurred related to the issuance, reissuance, modification, or denial of any permit, license, certification, or variance. Such costs include, but are not limited to the examination and processing of applications, plans, specifications, or any other data, any necessary public hearings and investigations. The Administrative Procedures Act, Section 41-22-4, requires each agency to adopt rules of practice setting forth the nature and requirements of all formal and informal procedures available, including a description of all forms and instructions used by the agency. In accordance with the Environmental Management Act, the Department is revising the ADEM Administrative Code Division 13 regulations to include changes to Chapter 335-13-5 and Chapter 335-13-15, Standards for the Disposal of Coal Combustion Residuals in Landfills and Surface Impoundments. Revisions to Chapter 335-13-5 and Chapter 335-13-15 are being proposed to reflect changes made to EPA's regulations for the management and disposal of coal combustion residuals from electric companies. These changes include the adoption of the holistic approach to closure Part A rule, published on August 28, 2020. That's 85 FR 53-51-6. These revisions also include removing provisions that were proposed previously but never promulgated by EPA. These regulations provide the department with the regulatory authority to resolve issues relating to the management of coal combustion residuals generated from the combustion of coal at electric utilities and independent power producers. The purpose of today's hearing is to provide an opportunity to receive public comment regarding the modifications as noted. The department welcomes your input to the process and will consider all technical comments prior to making a final decision concerning the modification of these regulations. The department will also provide a written response to each commenter and to those requesting specific notice of our decision. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now call on public officials, followed by members of the public in the order in which they filed registration cards to give oral testimony. I would ask that each person making a statement please step to the podium, state your name, and any interest or organization that you represent. I have not received any registration cards of anyone indicating they wish to speak. Is there anyone who has not had a chance to complete a card who wishes to speak at this time? Let the record reflect there is no response. The final hearing record will include a transcript of this hearing, all written submissions and exhibits, and a response by the department to each relevant comment received by the hearing officer before 5 p.m. Thursday, November 5th, 2020 at the ADEM offices in Montgomery. After consideration of all oral and written comments, ADEM will make a determination regarding possible revisions to the proposed rules and prepare a response to all relevant comments received. When a final decision has been made, ADEM will forward the final draft of the proposed rules as may be revised, the hearing record, and if conflicting views are submitted, a concise statement of the principal reasons for and against adoption of the proposed rules and the reasons for overruling any considerations urged against their adoption to the Environmental Management Commission for its consideration and possible adoption. Once complete, this record will be available for public inspection in the office of the Department of Environmental Management in Montgomery. Thank you for your attendance and your participation today. This hearing is adjourned.